day on Sunday, and 75. We're going to see an uptick in shower and thunderstorm activity Sunday night and into early next week. Actually, early next week could bring some severe weather. I'll keep you up to date. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now in St. Peter's, it's 53 and sunny. Flores in 52, and downtown at the Arch, sunshine and 53. I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports.
Okay, boys, here we go.
Welcome to the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive.
He hits a slammer. Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Here we go.
Now, Matt Pauley on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
All right, man, let's get going here.
Here we go. Let's go.
Around this time tomorrow, the Cardinals are going to be one game into their 162-game season. Welcome into an opening day eve edition of Graybar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Cardinals start with 4 in LA against the Dodgers, 3 in San Diego against the Padres, and then a week from tomorrow they will have their home opener where we get to celebrate the start of baseball season once again, but certainly looking forward to tomorrow. A 3:10 first pitch. That means our coverage tomorrow afternoon will begin at 2:15, and we'll just be jumping right in, doing everything like we always do, and we'll have Cardinals baseball. But to get you ready for it, we've got a Cardinals-centric edition of a Graybar Sports Open Line tonight here on KMOX. In about less than 10 minutes, we are going to be joined by Cardinals Hall of Famer, former pitcher John Tudor later on this hour, former catcher Tom Pagnazzi, who's now a studio analyst for Bally Sports Midwest. He is going to join us. And then next hour, Danny Wexelman from MLB Network Radio and ESPN will join us. She is a St. Louisan who does just a fantastic job covering baseball. And our guy, Kevin Wheeler, will be with us once again at about 7:35 as we have our third installment of our season preview with him. We've been talking with him every single day. And today we're going to lock in more on the position player group in the lineup after we talked through the starting rotation 2 days ago. And yesterday we spent some time talking about relief pitching. The news of the day for the Cardinals, and I use the term news lightly because only one part of this is really something that we didn't know was going to be happening, but the Cardinals did officially announce their opening day roster. Probably the biggest question going in was what was the 40-man roster move going to be with them adding Victor Scott II, and the move that they made. Jared Young, a first baseman, was placed on outright waivers, so he's taken off the 40-man roster. We'll see what happens with Young moving forward, if there's any possibility that he stays in the organization but not on the 40-man roster. That will get worked out at a later time, but nonetheless, he's not on the 40-man anymore. Victor Scott is, so that allows him to be placed on the 26-man roster. And then Jose Fermin was officially optioned to AAA Memphis. So the Cardinals will go into the season with 13 pitchers: Ryan Fernandez, Giovanni Gallegos, Kyle Gibson, Ryan Helsley, Andrew Kittredge, Matthew Liberator, Lance Lynn, Steven Matz, Miles Michaelis, Riley O'Brien, Andre Palante, Jojo Romero, and Zach Thompson. They go into the season with 2 catchers on the active roster: Wilson Contreras and Ivan Herrera. From an infield standpoint, Nolan Arenado, Matt Carpenter, Brandon Crawford, Brendan Donovan, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Gorman, and Mason Wynn. Outfitters: Alec Burleson, Victor Scott, Michael Ciani, and Jordan Walker. And then the 6 players who are going to begin the season on the injured list: Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edmonds, Sonny Gray, Lars Nootbaar, Keenan Middleton, and Drew Rom. And that is your Cardinals opening day roster. No drama tomorrow or anything, as the roster sometimes is announced day of, but we know exactly who's going to be on the roster. Something we'll talk about with Kevin Wheeler later on when he comes on in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. At some point in time, these guys are going to get healthy. What does the roster potentially look like as players start to get healthy? Now, I always like to say stuff like that works itself out, and it's a good problem to have. But it's also not clear what the roster could potentially look like as guys get healthy. I'm excited about a couple guys just to see what they can do in their roles, especially from a pitching standpoint. I'm excited to see what kind of pitcher Matthew Liberator can be in the bullpen, where that's just going to be his job. We saw a little bit of it last season. Excited to see Zach Thompson in the starting rotation. Can he force the Cardinals into a tough decision when Sonny Gray comes back by pitching well? his profile is the profile that really they need in the rotation. Somebody who can get some swing and miss. And then from a bullpen standpoint, excited to see whether or not Riley O'Brien has the opportunity to continue in the regular season what he did in spring. Much more on that throughout the course of the program. Up next, former Cardinals pitcher John Tudor will join us as we roll on. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on opening day eve right here on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Genesis of St. Charles wants you in a new Genesis. Just for owning a Nissan, Hyundai, or a Highline vehicle, you could get up to $2,000 in incentives on a GV70 or a GV80. You don't even have to trade that vehicle in. If you're military or first responder, they can add on to that incentive. So check out Genesis of stcharles.com for a full listing of qualifying vehicles. Genesis of St. Charles, just days away from opening their brand new showroom. There are so many ways to get behind the vehicle of your dreams at genesisofstcharles.com.
Your bathroom is boring and basic too. It seems like there's nothing you can do. A better bath awaits. You'll feel brand new, relaxing in a world of peace at the Bath Authority.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Restrictions apply. A better bath awaits.
You're our priority at the Bath Authority.
Baseball is back, basketball is heating up, and the NFL Draft is right around the corner. Listen to the latest on the teams you love with the free Odyssey app. The biggest sports radio stations in the country, providing unrivaled local coverage of their teams, all in one place. Exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and team executives, streaming live and always available on demand. Stay in the know with your favorite teams with Odyssey. AUDACY. Download the free Odyssey app today.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to get our $9 offer. legacybox.com/value.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
With the new year, it's time to make sure you have the best vision for 2024. That means scheduling your annual eye exam with Ophthalmology Associates. Call 314-966-5000.
The final days of the construction sales event are going on now at Audi Exchange Kirkwood. Stop in today and choose from hundreds of new Audis. And right now, take up to 10% off MSRP and get special low-rate financing on our great selection of new Audis. Coming soon in April, we're excited to introduce the all-new Audi Exchange Kirkwood, complete with over 35,000 square feet of nothing but Audi and a new attitude. Visit AudiKirkwood.com.
This is America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
From John Tudor. Swinging a ground ball. Ozzie to his left has it and throws one out. And Tudor has retired 14 in a row.
It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. You just heard Jack Buck talking about John Tudor, a Cardinals Hall of Famer. We're talking to as many former Cardinals as we possibly can this week, leading into opening day tomorrow. The Cardinals will play the Dodgers again. By the time we hit 6:19 tomorrow, Cardinals-Dodgers will probably already be done for the day. But let's go to the Quiver River guest line and welcome John Tudor onto the program. John, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Matt. How you doing?
Doing all right. Do you on the eve of opening day, as baseball season gets started, do you start kind of in your memory going back and thinking through your time playing? Is this just a good time for you from a kind of a reflective standpoint?
No, I don't. I don't really think back on it that much. I mean, every now and then, if I'm around other guys and we're talking about the old days, but it's not something. Yeah, it's not something that's really on my mind.
Well, I'm sure Cardinals fans think about you, especially when you think about that 1985 season and everything that that you and the team were able to accomplish that year. When you are back, because I mean, opening day is such a special day in St. Louis. When you do come back for that, when you see so many other former players, what is that like for you?
It's a lot of fun. It's always fun going back to St. Louis. It's such a great baseball town, and people always treat me so great there. You know, it was just a fun place to play. You know, those teams in the '80s were a lot of fun. I mean, we had some good years, we had some bad years, we had some off days, and but all in all, they were fun teams. They were fun teams to watch, and a good group of guys. I mean, I can honestly say that I don't have anybody on any of those teams that I can honestly say I don't like. So.
When you think back to specifically 1985, because you came over to the Cardinals from Pittsburgh, you'd spent some time in Boston prior to that, and that was a good team, and you had a fantastic season that year. How did it all come together from a team standpoint and a personal standpoint that year?
We're talking about 85.
85,
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 85 was kind of ride the wave. You know, I mean, it was like I said, it was such a good team. It's a team that was perfect for me. I mean, because I was, a contact type pitcher for the most part, and with the bigger ballpark and that great defense, it was like, gosh, here it is, hit it. As long as I can keep the ball in the ballpark, someone's going to probably make a play on it.
The numbers from that year are just fantastic. 21 wins. The numbers that really jump out, especially when you compare it to today's game, 14 complete games that year and 10 shutouts. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to see somebody. I'm pretty sure that we're never going to see a pitcher have 14 complete games in a season anymore, and therefore the 10 shutouts is very unlikely as well. Things change, baseball changes, but it's kind of funny to look at those kind of numbers and then compare it to how it's being played right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different game right now from a pitching standpoint. I mean, they know they're only going 5 to 6 innings, so they gear it all towards that. I mean, even for me, you talk about 14 complete games and all those innings, but the guys that played 10 years before me were completing 20 games and throwing 315 innings. So it was it's the game just kind of. I don't know. It changes here and there. I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know that it's all good or not. I mean, I'm not sure how I would have welcomed the fact of knowing that I'm not going to get a chance to complete a game even if I'm pitching good in it.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because while the trends do go in that direction, what the Cardinals tried to do this offseason, they brought in a bunch of kind of veteran starting pitchers with Sonny Gray and Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, guys who are known for taking the ball every fifth day, and guys who have shown the ability to pitch deep into games. So it does feel like in many ways what you're talking about, the trend in baseball is, guys are going 5 innings, 6 innings, and you're getting to the bullpen. Cardinals want a little bit more than that, and everything kind of moves in cycles. Maybe we are going to get to a point in baseball where starting pitchers are going to be asked to go a little bit deeper into games.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you'll see that happen again or not. I mean, with with the advent of 14-man pitching staffs, it there's just so many guys out in the bullpen that it's if you get a couple of starters that are going 7 or 8 or 9 innings, you're never going to get those guys work out there. And I don't see it coming back, but yeah, you never know. I mean, it's the old saying, what goes around comes around. But I don't know. There's so much money in these guys right now that I think they just kind of go out of their way to protect them and try and keep them from building up a bunch of innings. And I think the players kind of go along with it because they see themselves, able to maybe get more years and more money under their belt. So I don't know. I'd never really had the conversation with any of the current guys. So it's all speculation on my part.
We're talking with former Cardinals pitcher John Tudor. There's a perfect line in there because if you don't get deep enough from your starting pitching, then you're overusing your bullpen. And that's what happened to the Cardinals last year when they really struggled. But to your point, if you're getting 7, 8 innings, you got all these guys in the bullpen that are never getting work. So there's some, the truth lies somewhere in between, as is the case with most things. And that probably applies here as well.
Yeah, I think it does to a certain extent, but I think the Cardinals' problem last year was their bullpen struggled.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going to a guy in the bullpen, you're turning around, you're backing him up and going to someone maybe sooner than you want to get him out of the game because maybe he's had a bad day, and before you know it, you've used 4 guys to make up those 3 or 4 innings, and when you do that on a day in and day out basis, then those guys are going to get worn out a little bit. Although
when you look,
I don't know, they're pitching an inning, so
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure how you get worn out pitching an inning, but I don't know.
We're talking with John Tudor. When you look back on your career, because obviously you're beloved in St. Louis, and you can argue that 85 season was your best season, coming up second in the Cy Young Award voting. You spent a lot of time in Boston, but also you won a World Series later with the Dodgers. I know you had some health issues later on in your career. What team do you reflect upon most fondly? Do you think of yourself as a Cardinal? Is it other teams? How do you reflect upon your career in that way?
Yeah, I think I do. Because my most successful years were in St. Louis, and the most fun I had playing was in St. Louis. I mean, I spent 4 years in Boston, and that was great. I mean, I grew up there, so it was fun. It was good, but but I was early in my career trying to figure it out, and the teams were good and the teams were bad. They weren't anywhere near as strong defensively as those Cardinals teams were, which is, like I said, that's kind of what made me so successful, was the fact that the defense on that team was just so incredible.
Yeah. We had Tommy Herr on earlier this week, and you think about that double play combination of Herr and Ozzie, and then Terry Pendleton, underrated defensive third baseman. You had Willie out in center field, Vince Coleman and Andy Van Slyke out there as well. I mean, you just look up and down that lineup, and from a defensive standpoint, there were a lot of guys who could make plays on the ball on the field.
Yeah, and I mean, Terry was as good or better a third baseman that I ever played with, and Terry made all the plays, and he was between. He obviously helped Ozzie too because Terry was able to get into the hole a little bit, to his left, and it kind of took some of the pressure off of Ozzie, especially when Ozzie was having a little bit of problems with his shoulder and having a little bit more of a problem making that throw from the hole. But they just complemented each other. I mean, I can think of a handful of times where the ground ball back up the middle to me with a guy on first base. I just get my glove out of the way and let Ozzie catch it, or let Tommy catch it, turn it on their own, right? Take me out of the scenario. There's a little better chance.
The Cardinals are going to have a young guy, Victor Scott II, making his major league debut coming up tomorrow in the season debut. He's got as much speed as anybody playing the game of baseball, and there's already been comparisons to Vince Coleman. Obviously, baseball is a little bit different now than it was then, but when you think about Coleman and what he could do on the bases to impact a game, how do you apply that to today's game, and specifically with Scott and what he can potentially do if you think of him in the same terms as Vince Coleman?
Yeah, I haven't seen Scott play, so it's tough. It's tough for me to compare him and Vince. I don't think you can compare him and Vince at this point. It wouldn't be fair to Scott to do that. Vince was a freak. Vince was full speed in 2 steps, and it was just a tremendous base stealer. He just wreaked havoc on other teams. I mean, I'm sure that there were dozens of pre-series meetings where they said, make sure you don't walk Coleman. And sure as heck, he'd walk to lead off a game, steal second, steal third, and Tommy hit a ground ball to second base and drive him in, and we'd be winning 1-0 without a hit. It happened over and over again, and just Vince's presence on first base also had an effect on pitchers because they had to worry about him, and so they consequently had to probably throw more fastballs to some of our better hitters and give them the opportunity.
Yeah, it's a fun comparison. You're right. It's not fair, but it's just the Cardinals for a while haven't had a guy who can really impact the game on the bases, and it feels like Victor Scott II has that opportunity. But
the game is kind of coming back to that a little bit.
It is.
It's coming back to the base stealers again, which is good because it's a fun part of the game. It's an entertaining part of the game, and I don't like the throw over rules. I don't like those. I think that they hurt the game. I think that they're stupid. But I like seeing the old school's base stealing and that type of game come back into baseball.
Well, John,
missing for a while.
We really appreciate your time today. This was fun to catch up with you. Hopefully, we see you on the ballpark, certainly on occasion. But thank you so much for taking some time with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Have
awesome.
a good day.
That's John Tudor, former Cardinals pitcher, Cardinals Hall of Famer. Great to catch up with him just a bit. Again, Cardinals home opener coming up a week from tomorrow. We'll take a break, have more in just a moment. In fact, another former Cardinal, Tom Pagnazzi, now part of the broadcast team with Bally Sports Midwest. He joins us next. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
What if there is a murderer walking among us?
Follow the clues. Solve the mystery.
This village really is a place where murder is easy.
Agatha Christie's Murder is Easy, a brand new BritBox original series, is streaming now, adding to the largest collection of Agatha Christie, including Miss Marple, Poirot, Why Didn't They Ask Evans, and more.
The whole collection, it is magnificent.
Stream the best of British TV, only on BritBox. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Biana's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Cardinal Cowboy here for Renner Garage Door. Are you tired of your outdated garage door? Well, we does that. Top-notch service or repair? We does that too. Renner's the leader when it comes to new garage doors and smart LiftMaster openers. Serving Greater St. Louis and surrounding areas since 1966. You know the name forward and back. RENNER. Whether it's residential, commercial, or repair, Renner does that. Call or click today. RennerDoorSTL.com. The garage door company that does. Giddy up!
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan.
After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Saturdays are made for soccer. Presented by Michelob Ultra. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Catch St. Louis City Soccer anywhere you go on the Odyssey app. Or grab your friends and catch the game at any City on Tap location, bringing City SC fans and beer together.
Hi, my name is Bradley Cornell from St. Louis City. Saturdays are made for soccer.
Brought to you by Together Credit Union, the exclusive banking partner of City SC.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800-403-5569. What do you have to lose? Call 800-403-5569. Again, 800-403-5569.
News Radio KMOX, the home of the Cardinals.
Pagnazzi swings and a long fly ball to right center field, way back at the track, at the wall. Home run for the kid. Pagnazzi with his first ever in the big league.
It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. We're going to be hearing and seeing a lot more of Tom Pagnazzi this year as he is officially joining the crew over at Bally Sports Midwest. He's going to be a studio analyst doing Cardinals pre and post, and we're very happy to welcome on to Gray Bar Sports Open Line right now. Tom, thanks for the time. Congrats on the new gig. We're certainly excited to see and hear from you a lot more moving forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Matt. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and as a Cardinal and former Cardinal player and as a Cardinal fan, there's nothing better than talking Cardinal baseball.
What attracted you to this? Because you've done so many things in baseball, post-playing career. You did some coaching. I mean, you've been all over the place, and now you've got an opportunity to try your hand at broadcasting.
Well, I've always had an interest in it. I love doing radio shows and TV shows from that standpoint. I've been away for a while. My wife was sick, who passed away 2 years ago after a tough battle with cancer, and I was ready for the next journey. I've always wanted to get back in baseball, and this was the opportunity.
When you look at this Cardinals team, there's a lot of optimism about what they can do, but there's also a lot of question marks and a lot of dependency upon various players having some bounce back seasons. What's your level of optimism for the kind of team the Cardinals can be this year?
Well, obviously coming off of last year, not a good year. I like what they did with their pitching. They got veteran guys. Now, I know a lot of people are, man, we didn't get the superstar guy, from that standpoint. But, Gray is going to be a good one. He battles, bringing back, rebuilding the bullpen and, bringing in Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn. Those are guys that give you a bunch of innings. I mean, if you look back even, last year, you just gained 650 innings from the starting rotation of those guys, which is going to make your bullpen better because they don't get overexposed. Obviously, they're all a year older, but they're proven, and that's the thing that you go by. They're proven, and offensively, I think they'll be better. Bringing in you know, Contreras having a second year, and you know, Walker, you know, a rookie year is tough, and Jordan Walker is going to be better. Gorman, hopefully he stays healthy, because he can be a big part. And I love the shortstop. You know, I don't know how much he's going to hit from the get-go, but let's remember Ozzie Smith didn't hit from the get-go.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to compare him to Ozzie. I'm not trying to do that. It's not fair to win to do that. But he has that ability.
When you think about the next core, the next generation of Cardinals baseball, in many ways it feels, Goldschmidt, Arenado, they're still around, and I'm not trying to push them out the door by any stretch of the mind, but you think about Walker and Gorman and Wynn, and Scott's going to start the season on the roster. That's a really good core of position players that you would think have the opportunity to do some special things in St. Louis.
You know, it kind of reminds me of, you know, when Coleman and Pendleton and those guys came up. McGee was a couple years into it. It's kind of like the same style and same type of setup. You have some good young core players from that standpoint, and you look at, you know, even Herrera as the backup catcher, and you can go into the pitching. With Zach Thompson, you know, it's going to be time for you know, Lipitor to step up, you know, from that standpoint. The future's there, but you know, the present is also here.
We're talking with Tom Pagnazzi, former Cardinal, now part of the team at Bally Sports Midwest. He'll be doing studio analyst work on pregame and postgame shows coming up this season. So you mentioned just the pitchers that they brought in, and Sonny Gray was second in the American League Cy Young Award voting last year. He's a top 10 starting pitcher in all of Major League Baseball, I think. Yet a certain contingent of the fan base has not been overly fired up about his addition. Have you seen that? Have you been surprised by that? Because this was a pretty big signing for this team.
Well, you know, he's kind of pitched in a couple places where it's been kind of quiet. You know, the fan base is not there. You know, Sonny Gray, I've seen him since he's been in college, and he was a stud then, and he still is. Like you said, he's a top 10 guy. I guarantee you, if you walk out there and take a poll, nobody knows where he finished in the Cy Young last year, and the type of year he's had. He's a legit number one guy. From that standpoint. And I agree that the fan base isn't super excited about him to a point, because I think they were looking for one of those three top guys.
Were you coaching at Arkansas when he was at Vanderbilt?
No, he was a few years a lot of years after.
Okay.
I coached in 2003, 2004. But I saw him, you know, because I go to a lot of Razorback games, try to go to all the SEC games. So I've seen him plenty back in that day. And, you know, I follow a lot of the SEC guys because you get to know them in this conference. It's a tremendous conference. And, you know, you follow guys along the way.
Yeah, and Tennessee is so good this year. You think about the pitchers that have come through Vanderbilt and what they've done with their facilities and everything. I remember when I was working in the Midwest League, 10 plus 15 years ago, however long it was, guys would get drafted and they would come and play in the Midwest League, and they're like, I'm a pro ball player now, and the facilities I'm playing at are nothing compared to what I used to play at. It's just SEC baseball is just a different thing.
It's incredible. People that haven't experienced it, you know, perfect example. I was talking to a scout. This was a couple of years ago, and he was saying they have so much trouble drafting a 10th round SEC player, 12th round, you know, when the draft used to be deeper, because these guys come in and they're used to flying charter flights. They're used to staying at Marriott's and Hilton's, and they go to A-ball, and, you know, you're riding a bus. They don't ride buses in this league. They fly everywhere, and they fly charters. It's like you're in the big leagues. If you would see our facilities here at the University of Arkansas, we have 32 skyboxes. We'll put in 12,000 people for a weekend series per game, not for the series, per game, and that's college. It's got an incredible following, and not the whole league is like that because some parks are only 5,000 or 6,000 people, but they pack them. But we have, I think, 8 parks that are 10,000 or more in this league.
Couple more questions for Tom Pagnazzi before we let him go. Again, he's joining the team at Bally Sports Midwest and will be doing studio analyst work this year. The team does begin the season with 6 guys on the injured list. Sonny Gray, in addition to Keenan Middleton, Drew Rahm, Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edman in that group. Are you concerned? I think Lars Nootbaar in that group, if I didn't say him. Are you concerned about the number of injuries that the Cardinals have suffered before the season has even gotten started?
Without a doubt. I mean, you sit there and you go, man, not again. Hopefully, Nootbaar's back soon. Edmund, I don't know, what Tommy's true timeline is. I don't think he knows yet. From that sense, you're going to get Sonny Gray back pretty soon. It hurts not going from the get-go. It kind of puts you, but is also going to give Victor Scott a chance that was not going to get it. And, the way he played in spring training, he probably deserved it, the opportunity. And, to see him, hopefully he has success. And you know what? He may never go back. You don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's for him and Zach Thompson as well, because he's getting the chance in the rotation with Sonny Gray out. These are young guys being given an opportunity, and now they've got the chance to go out there and perform and force a really tough decision from the Cardinals once other guys get healthy.
Exactly right, and that's what you want as an organization. You want those tough situations. You can plug in somebody here, and if he takes off, now you go, okay, what are we going to do? Those are good problems to have instead of saying, who are we going to play? So that's a lot different.
We had Mark Sweeney on yesterday, and he's joining the crew as well, doing kind of the same thing that you're doing. He was lamenting the fact that because you guys do the same thing, that you're rarely, if ever, going to work together. So my thought was Cardinals just need to make it to the playoffs this year, and Bally can do full post game coverage and have both you guys involved in it.
That would be fun. Doggy, we go way back. We played together. He's a great person. Looking forward to it. Him being out in San Diego, me being in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'll come up even on some weekends that I'm not working. Just to see Doggy. He's a fun guy. He's talented. He's been in this business for a while now, and looking forward to catching up to him again.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you and everybody on TV this year. Can't wait to introduce myself to you officially in person once you're in town. Tom, thanks so much for taking the time, and hopefully we can catch up with you every once in a while.
You bet, Matt. Thank you. Anytime.
Awesome. Very good. That's Tom Pagnazzi joining us, former Cardinal, now part of the broadcast team with Bally Sports Midwest. He's going to be doing pre and post as a studio analyst, joining Mark. So the whole crew, Al Raboski, who am I missing? I've got, there's Matt Pajeski's yelling at me, Scott Warman. Scott Warman and Alexa, they're the host, and then you've got the analyst. Brad Thompson and Jim Edmonds will pop in there on occasion. I don't know if they're going to do that as much this year with the different folks that they've added, but good to have more faces, more voices involved overall with Cardinals broadcast. It's a very good thing, and excited to see what Tom and what Mark are able to do, and just more ways to teach the game of baseball and see the baseball through different lenses, and that is a great thing, I think, for fans. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up the first hour of the program. We'll talk a little Blues hockey. Bad news coming from the team today regarding Oscar Sundqvist. What does this really mean? We'll discuss it coming up in just a moment. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Hey, have you saved more than $300,000 in an IRA or 401k? You may not realize it now, but you've got a big problem on your hands. And that problem is taxes. Learn how you could dramatically reduce the taxes on these accounts in retirement in a one-night adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. It's held at colleges and universities throughout Greater St. Louis and Southern Illinois, and it's hosted by financial and tax architects, your retirement professors. In just 3 hours, you'll benefit from decades of financial planning experience on taxes, healthcare, Social Security, investing for income, and more. If you've saved at least $300,000 for retirement, register now by calling 314-626-8817. You'll pay zero tuition for the class. So call 314-626-8817.
Advisory services offered through Financial and Tax Architects, an SEC registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Financial and Tax Architects.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. We're not here to sell you anything. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Tune in Saturday mornings at 10, right here on KMOX.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien High Efficiency Tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Did you know that St. Louis composting is open all year long? It may be winter, but it's the perfect time to start planning for next spring's bountiful garden and lawn. For more information, visit stlcompost.com.
Spring into your next project with a First Line Home Equity Loan from First Community. Apply by April 30th and get an amazing introductory rate of 5.95% APR for the first 12 months. And there is no application fee and no closing fees, only at First Community. $1 share deposit required. Must qualify for membership. Subject to credit approval. Offer does not include refinances on First Community loans. Call 888-642-7969 for terms and conditions.
This is America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Continuing on, it's a Graybar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. Mostly Cardinals baseball today because it's the eve. It is the eve of opening day. Cardinals at Dodgers coming up tomorrow. 3:10 first pitch. Our coverage will be going all day. It'll start first thing in the morning tomorrow with Total Information AM. It'll go into Chris and Amy. I I guess they'll do a little bit of the Dave Glover show for about an hour or so. So there'll be a lot of Kevin Wheeler talking baseball, I would guess, for that hour. And then I'll take over at 2:15 as we get rolling with Cardinals baseball tomorrow. And we are so excited for that. The Blues are still playing. It feels like that they are slowly but surely kind of falling out of this thing. That loss the other night, we talked about it yesterday. The loss, not the loss, but giving up 2 points. It felt like a loss, right? They lost. Well, I guess it was a loss because they fell in overtime, but just they still got a point. That was tough. That was not good. And now it just seems quite unlikely, but you never know. Again, if they win the number of games in the final 10 or so games of the season, if they keep up the same pace that they had been on going into that Vegas game, they've still got a chance. However, they are not going to have Oscar Sundqvist available. The Blues announcing earlier today that he is going to miss the remainder of the season. He has torn an ACL in his right knee. That happened against Vegas on Monday night. The injury is going to require surgery. He is going to be reevaluated in 6 months. So a 6-month reevaluation. That means this is likely to impact his ability he won't have a normal offseason. It could impact his ability to be there for training camp, which is just a little bit more than 6 months away. And even the start of the regular season, if anything goes not quite according to plan. This year, 71 games for Sundqvist with the Blues, 21 points, 6 goals, 15 assists, 32 penalty minutes. And he is someone that, even if the numbers don't always show up, he has certainly impacted this team and somebody who wants to be a Blue for sure. But not great news for the team as they try to find a way to continue their good run here down the stretch of the season and find a way to sneak into the playoffs, which doesn't seem likely at this point, but something that they, of course, are still attempting to do. All right, coming up next hour, we've got a lot that we are going to get into. Danny Wexelman from ESPN and MLB Network Radio. She's going to join us. We'll preview the Major League Baseball season with her. Kevin Wheeler will be with us for the third part of our 3-part series previewing the baseball season. So that's all going to be coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. It is the opening day eve edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. My name is Matt Pauley. We are back after the 7 o'clock news right here on KMOX.
Clutter and junk collect in corners and piles.
In attics and basements.
In closets and sheds.
And in garages.
Boy, does junk gather in garages.
The average garage is a convention center for junk.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
You're going to get a brand new garage.
You're going to get a bunch of new closets.
You're going to get a new shed.
Best of all, you're going to get fresh air freedom.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Lean into relaxation with AAA Travel. Get away to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, starting at just $694 for 5 days at the all-inclusive adults-only Hotel Rio República. That includes all meals, drinks, activities, complimentary access to Splash Water World Water Park. Your AAA Travel advisor can help you lean into relaxation in Punta Cana. Ask about other destinations and added values at AAA.com/travel.
The Cardinals open the 2024 season at home on Thursday, April 4th. Don't miss the tradition and excitement of opening day at Busch Stadium. That day, all fans 21 and older will take home the 2024 Magnet schedule thanks to Budweiser. Never miss a game with this convenient information hub. That's Thursday, April 4th, the Cardinals home opener and the 2024 Magnet schedule presented by Budweiser. Tickets still remain. Get yours at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Lance Lynn, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
The Cardinals host the Marlins Saturday, April 6th, and that day, 25,000 fans, 16 and up, take home a Cardinals Hall of Fame Car Parade bobblehead. That's courtesy of Ford. Be surprised at the gates when you get one of the 2 mystery bobbleheads. Will it be Jason Isringhausen, or will it be the secret weapon, Jose Oquendo? Find out and get your tickets and more information by going to cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Ozzie Smith, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
After a long winter, your lawn is going to be starving this spring. It's hungry, so it's time to feed it with Scott's 4-Step program, available at Cotton's Ace Hardware. The 4-Step includes weed prevention, and each season, the right amount of food to keep your lawn happy, healthy, and green, and the envy of the neighborhood. You can either get the 5,000 square foot package or the 15,000 square foot package and get a $20 gift card to Cotton's Ace Hardware. Do not neglect your lawn. Get started on the 4-Step today at Cotton's Ace Hardware.
Hello, my name is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, where you can find us online at claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com. Do you have a house that you'd like to sell as is and not deal with the market? Maybe you have a tenant not paying the rent or a house in disrepair and you want a simple solution for your sale? We've been in business for over 88 years and we've helped thousands of people sell their house in as-is condition with no middleman involved. Reach out today at claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com, and receive an offer today.
KMOX, KEZK, HD2 St. Louis.
The voice of the Billikens, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The bodies of the first known victims of the Key Bridge collapse have been discovered in the water near the Port of Baltimore. More from CBS's Peter King.
The bodies of the two men were found trapped in a pickup truck 25 feet underwater. 4 more people are missing and presumed dead. All 6 were from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
To all the families, I say, estamos contigo, ahora y siempre.
In English, we are with you now and always. Divers can no longer safely look for remains because of all the debris. It's now a salvage rather than a recovery mission. Peter King, CBS News.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg on the impact of the closed waterway and port.
About 8,000 jobs we think are directly implicated, and over $100 million of cargo moves in and out of that port a day.
The Navy says it's mobilizing barges outfitted with heavy lift cranes to help clear the channel. Former Connecticut Senator and VP nominee Joe Lieberman is dead at 82. His family says he died due to complications from a fall. Lieberman was a longtime Democrat who fell out of favor within his own party after making harsh remarks about then presidential candidate Senator Barack Obama and throwing his support behind his longtime friend, Arizona Republican John McCain. Lieberman explained his support of McCain in 2008.
I did it not only because I felt so strongly on behalf of my friend John McCain, but because there is so much partisanship in our politics today.
A judge recommends that ex-Trump lawyer John Eastman lose his California law license for efforts to overturn the 2020 election. There's been a settlement between Disney and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' appointed board, which took over the company's government. The takeover was the result of the company's opposition to Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay law. This particular settlement involves what the state called Disney's 11th hour deals to try to undermine the new board. Governor Ron DeSantis saying in Orlando today,
"You now have a control board overseeing this that is accountable, that has been appointed by people that you've elected."
The U.S. is offering rewards for foreign cyber actors targeting U.S. infrastructure. CBS's Cammie McCormick reports.
The State Department says the U.S. is offering $10 million for the identification or location of any person acting at the direction of a foreign government in conducting cyber attacks against critical U.S. infrastructure. It mentions one group in particular, Black Cat Ransomware, which it says has compromised computer networks, disabled security systems, and placed ransomware on the targeted systems.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 7:03, we have clear skies, 53 degrees downtown of the Arch. I'm Maria Aquina. Our top local story at this hour, will the port closure in Baltimore affect the supply chain here?
Short answer,
it's not going to be a direct impact.
Peter Goger is with OEC Group in St. Louis, a company that provides freight transportation info services to tens of thousands of customers.
Most products that come to St. Louis usually come over the West Coast. They typically hit LA, a little bit through Seattle. And so those supply chains are humming right now. Everything is moving very well, and we're not really seeing any disruption.
Goger says if St. Louis companies had product in Baltimore, they will certainly have delays, but it will be nothing like the supply chain issues during the pandemic. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
But there is an iceberg lettuce shortage.
And of course, that means that the price is going to go up.
That's Greg DeYoung. He's Associate Professor of Operations Management at Southern Illinois University, and KMOX spoke with him about the lettuce supply chain.
Those things get reflected very quickly with these type of perishable products because there's just not lettuce sitting in a warehouse somewhere waiting for people to buy it. It's really a farm-to-table type of distribution network.
St. Louis County is not the first government body to sue over the high cost of insulin. Last week, KMOX first brought you news of a lawsuit by the county against drug makers and pharmacy benefit managers alleging insulin price indexing.
And in fact, just last month, Minnesota announced a settlement of an extremely similar type of a lawsuit, which lowered the price of insulin for a period of 5 years. And I would expect something very similar to happen with St. Louis County.
For clarification there, that's insulin price fixing. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young speaking on Total Information AM. And he says there have been similar lawsuits in Maryland, Indiana, and Virginia. Well, parents have another reason to take their kids to the old ball game.
If you're going to be out and about this evening, dress for a chill. Temperatures will be in the 40s, mid-40s for the most part. Clear and cold overnight, 30 degrees. Thursday, plenty of sunshine. Fast afternoon warm-up, 65, 42 and clear Thursday night. Friday, sunny, warmer in the afternoon, 72, 75 on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Well, the old ball game not being so cooperative tonight. We'll just take you back to sports with Matt Pauley. That'll do it. That'll get us some sports that way. 51 right now in St. Peters, 50 in Florissant, and downtown at the Arch, it's 53. I'm Maria Kina, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
On America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
We are back at it on KMOX. It's the Graybar Sports Open Line. Coming up this hour, we're about 10 minutes away from talking with Danny Wexelman, St. Louisan, part of the team at ESPN and MLB Network Radio. She is going to be in Baltimore as she is going to be hosting on MLB Network Radio tomorrow. Also, Kevin Wheeler is going to join us later on this hour as we do the third part of our three-part series regarding the Cardinal season. So what are the legit expectations for this Cardinal season? It's a good question. Kevin Wheeler and I were talking about this today, how the teams in the NL Central and the teams that have the widest range between like what their worst season would be and what their best season could be. And my argument is actually that the Pittsburgh Pirates have the widest range. They've got a nice little team that they've put together there, but they're the Pirates and they never do anything. Even when they do seemingly have nice teams. I mean, this could be a 60-win team in Pittsburgh, or it could be an 85-win team in Pittsburgh. That's like a 25-game range in terms of wins on what they could be. So that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about the floor and the ceiling of a possible season. I think the Cardinals' range is quite large as well. I don't think it's quite that of the Pirates. I think this team had everything. I'm not saying what I'm about to say is an excuse for last year, because the roster was not put together well. The team, it just that I think we can, in hindsight, look back at last year's team and say that in all likelihood, that team was never going to be overly successful. But making it worse last year was the fact that it was one of those, if it could go wrong, it would go wrong kind of seasons. And generally speaking, that doesn't happen multiple years in a row. So again, that takes us back to what is the legitimate expectations for this team. And if this team was playing in just about any other division in baseball, maybe other than the AL Central, we would be having a very different conversation, because on paper, this team doesn't stand up with the best teams in the Eastern and Western divisions for the most part. They don't. And there's still some work that could potentially be done as the year goes along. But when you think about them in terms of being in the NL Central and kind of being in that second group of teams in the National League, to me, it's very clear there's this upper echelon of teams in the National League. You've got the Dodgers, who might be in a class of their own, but you can include the Braves, you can include the Phillies, And then there's this next group of teams. And most of the teams in the National League are in that next group of teams. You look at the NL Central, honestly, there's not a whole lot separating out the Cardinals from the Cubs, from the Reds, from the Brewers, and the Pirates just on paper. Any of these teams can finish with very similar records this upcoming season. Now, there's a benefit to that for the Cardinals that there is a path to the playoffs without winning 90 plus games. And that's true for any team with all the extra wild cards this year, but it's a little bit easier when you're in a division like the NL Central. But that's not what fans want to hear. I already know what 80% of the people listening to this right now are thinking as I'm talking through this. They don't want to hear about the Cardinals just being a playoff team. They want to hear about the Cardinals being a team that can go make some noise in the playoffs. And that remains the big question on whether or not they're able to do that. Is, can this team not just be a playoff team? I think clearly they can be a playoff team. I don't think it's clear that they will be a playoff team. I would pick them to finish first in the NL Central, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Cubs won the NL Central. I wouldn't be shocked if the Reds won the NL Central. I wouldn't be shocked I guess I'd be a little bit shocked if the Brewers won the NL Central, but I felt the same that way about the Brewers last year, and they end up winning the division. Now there's some pretty big pieces that aren't there anymore, most notably Corbin Burns. But there's not that much of a difference there either, and that's an organization that's had a relatively good amount of success here in recent years. So legit expectations for the Cardinals. I think it's fair to expect this team to be contending for the division. I think it's fair to expect this team to be pushing for a playoff spot. I think it's fair to expect this team to be an above 500 team. And if they're doing all of those things and they get the bounce backs from Lance Lynn and from Kyle Gibson and from Miles Michaelis and Matt Carpenter and Brandon Crawford, this could be a pretty good club. It could be a pretty good club. But expectations are not just, it's not just betting on the best case scenario. It's kind of what is the minimum that this team could do this year. And I think at a very minimum, this is going to be a team that is contending for a playoff spot and contending to win a division. And if they can be in that spot, maybe a little something more can happen as the season goes along. And we'll talk about it throughout the year because, like we said, the starting rotation without Sonny Gray in it, it doesn't look, this is not a group that you would probably want to go into a postseason series with, right? Miles Michaelis and Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, those are not the guys that you say, these are the guys I want starting the first game of a playoff series. Sonny Gray is. I think Sonny Gray absolutely is a guy that you would feel comfortable with starting that first game. But there are question marks. There are clear question marks, and the Cardinals will try to start answering some of those questions beginning tomorrow. We'll come back. We will talk with Danny Wexelman, St. Louisan, part of ESPN, part of MLB Network Radio. We'll preview the baseball season with her. She joins us in just a moment. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. Tourney time is here. Mike Valeni and I are going through every matchup of the big dance over on the podcast. We're talking sides, totals, Mix in a reckless parlay every now and then. Come on, it's fun. We've got tourney trends, futures plays, who wins the national title, something for every bettor and every sports fan. Region by region, game by game, however you want to digest it, it's there. Download Cash the Ticket today. It's on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9-MILLION.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Abicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and I see more clearly thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Make your appointment today at 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Your home of the Cardinals.
Arenado swings and hits it deep to left field. That ball is out of here.
The Billikens.
Jumper. Yes! Billikens win!
The Chiefs.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
We are America's sports voice, KMOX.
Back at it on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX on opening day eve. Again, our coverage tomorrow, Cardinals and Dodgers will begin at 2:15, 3:10 for the first pitch. We're going to head back to the Quiver River Electric Guest Line. Welcome on one of my favorite people to be able to talk baseball with. She is a St. Louisan. She's made it big with ESPN and MLB Network Radio. She's our friend, Danny Wexelman. You follow her on Twitter at Danny Wex. Danny, thanks for taking some time. How are you?
Oh my gosh, Matt, you've got me blushing over here. I am so honored to be here. I always get excited when I get to talk to anybody in St. Louis, my hometown, and the place I grew up. So I'm super stoked. I feel like a little kid tonight. I'm getting ready for tomorrow and opening day. And I know everyone is excited, even if maybe you're not thrilled about the team today. But guess what? It's okay. The team is going to look a little different come midway. It's not going to be the same all year long.
I know we need baseball games that count because looking at your Twitter account, I can see that you have spent the day reading the MLB pronunciation guide.
What a nerd am I, right? Literally, I spent the last hour while I'm listening to interviews because I'm doing Orioles Angels opening day tomorrow in Baltimore. But I am such a nerd. I don't know if everybody knows this about me, but I had a 7th grade teacher, and I'm blanking on her name right now, at LaSalle Springs. And she taught us the to be verbs, and I've never forgotten those. And I just feel like with journalism, I'm just obsessed with like a good pronunciation guide.
It helps, right? Like, because when you find out that you've been pronouncing somebody's name wrong, you feel like the smallest person in the world. But then you're like, if somebody just would have given me a pronouncer, I never would have made that mistake.
Exactly. I take a lot of pride in being able to pronounce names correctly. And nothing makes me more frustrated when people don't tell you how to do it, but also when there's no guide. So I love a good pronunciation guide, and I follow it very strictly, Matt.
Very good. Shout out to the public relations folks and sports information folks across the land.
Yeah.
Because, you're involved in college baseball. That's where you really need it. And the SIDs and at the college level are fantastic.
Oh, they're next level. They are so good. They give us the guides. They make sure that we know. They text me during the game if we happen to miss one. But yeah, I mean, listen, your name is your most important thing to you, right? It's the thing that's said the most about you. And so I want to get it right. Like, my job is to get it right, to make your family proud. So yeah, when I mess up, like that's a stain on my resume if I don't get a name right, especially a name you should know. So I'm paying close attention. But yeah, I'm such a nerd. I just love to sift through those things.
When I was doing AAA baseball with the Rockies, we got Nolan Arenado, and I went up to him before the season and I asked him, how do you say your last name? Is it Arenado or Arenado? And he wouldn't tell me. And finally I go, if I was talking to your mom right now, what would she say? And he says, it's Arenado. And then clearly nobody with the Rockies ever had that conversation with him because he was always Nolan Arenado with the Rockies. It wasn't until he got to St. Louis that they started going Arenado.
Yeah, you got to get it right, especially with a guy of that caliber. But that's what a lot of guys will do. They do it when I cover high school prospects and college prospects. They don't care. But I try to tell them, listen, we want to get it right. I don't want to mispronounce your name. I don't want your parents to be mad. So just do me a favor and tell me right now, and we'll never get it wrong. But if you don't tell me, I'm going to say it wrong, and I'm going to look silly, and then I'm going to be mad at you. So let's avoid that situation and get the name right.
Do you like what the Cardinals have done this offseason as I abruptly make a left turn?
Yeah, let's take a hard left turn there. Do I like what they've done? I like what they've done. I don't love what they've done, but I like the idea. And I think the intent behind John Mozeliak's decisions and his additions and what they felt like was important for this ball club. I think he addressed some of the major issues when it came to the pitching staff, their starting staff guys that they lost, innings that needed to be replaced, the swing and miss issues from last year. I don't love it. I thought that once we've seen some of the free agent signings, particularly Jordan Montgomery, who just signed yesterday with the Arizona Diamondbacks for what looked like a steal. So I think that there could have been different upgrades made, but this is the route that this team chose to go with the money they wanted to spend this year. So I'm kind of like at a 5. I sit in the middle. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but it is what it is right now, I guess.
Victor, maybe the biggest story going into the season is injuries, and connected to that is now the opportunity for Victor Scott II to make his major league debut. I saw him down spring. I mean, he's got so much speed. Cardinals fans are just going to fall in love watching this guy play, especially if he can find a way to get on base a lot. But it's fun at this time of the year to see these young players get ready to make their debuts.
Yeah, I got to cover him during the spring breakout as well when the Cardinals played, and he's so electric. This kid is one of those guys where when he's up to bat, you're probably going to make sure you already have your beer, you have your hot dog and whatever you need, and you're sitting your butt in your seat to watch him play, because everything happens really quickly with Victor Scott, and he does everything really quickly, and he's really exciting to watch. Now, listen, he's going to have an adjustment to make at the major league level, but we got to throw this kid in the fire because we need help and we have injuries. And so this is where we're at. But I'm excited for him. I think that Ollie Marmol said at some point we would see Victor Scott II. I don't know if anyone anticipated it being on the opening day roster, but here we are. And like I said, I think sometimes fans and just people watching in general and the media get a little too dramatic, a little too animated sometimes, and are worried about the team on day one. Let's worry about the team on day, 70. Let's get a little farther down the road and get halfway through and then kind of assess what's going on. But yeah, I think you use the right word. It's opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities for a lot of different guys. I think about Alec Burleson and Brendan Donovan as well, who are going to get a chance to show off a little bit more. And listen, that's their game. And so let's see what they do with it. I think that right now you're just starting the season. So let's not panic quite yet.
And Zach Thompson is another guy. There's a bunch of guys who can try to force the Cardinals into tough decisions once players start getting healthy.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, again, the roster today is rarely ever the roster at the end of the season. And you have to be patient, right? You have to anticipate when you're going to get a chance to get called up, how you're going to be able to impact this club. I mean, listen, you look at a guy like Matthew Liberatore, right? Like, I'm curious to kind of see where he gets put into everything and how he gets situated. I was kind of listening, and I heard some chatter in camp about potentially earning a spot in that starting rotation. So who knows? Maybe he ends up working his way in and gets a chance to be a starter. Right now, he's listed in the bullpen for the Cardinals. But this is, I think what you have to understand is, like, this is a team who knows how to win. There's history there. There's foundation there. You have a ton of veteran guys. And so the key here is to play clean baseball. Play like you know how to, and don't press. Like, the second you press because you're stressed, because you don't have Sonny Gray there yet, you don't have some of your outfielders there yet, and that is very stressful. The second you start pressing is when you start to lose a lot of games, and you lose them and it snowballs very quickly. So I think the key is for this team to look at this opportunity and just take it literally just one inning at a time.
Finish you off with a serious note. You're in Baltimore for Orioles and Angels. What are you expected to, obviously with the bridge in Baltimore, high emotions there. And this is one of those times where kind of sports and real life come together.
Yeah, that was horrific. My jaw dropped. I was told, I texted Melanie Newman right away. One of my good friends, she's out there broadcast for the Orioles, and she's always on the go. So I checked in with her and some of the other people I know out there. Just truly horrific to see that happen, and to know that people's lives have changed forever, and potential lives lost. I mean, ahead of opening day, right? And that is, I think, what makes sports so special. If I could turn it to, you know, the silver lining, is that the Orioles and that team and that city are going to go put them on their backs, and they're going to play this season and uplift everyone around them. I mean, listen, it's really blue collar in Baltimore, right? Like, and I think like that bridge represents a lot. It represents a connector, literally, of cities. And so I am just, my heart goes out to those families and people who live and breathe Baltimore to have that happen. But I hope that the baseball season and this team, listen, I have this team winning the division. I have this team getting to the postseason and making a nice run. A lot of people have them going to the World Series. I mean, imagine this team being able to do that and maybe try to ease the hearts and the minds of some of the people in that community. But yeah, I just felt so awful, Matt, for Baltimore ahead of this season for that. Hopefully opening day can inspire and bring a little lightness to that situation.
Well, Danny, we really appreciate you taking some time with us. We'll catch up with you throughout the season, and have a great year.
Yeah, you too. I can't wait. Enjoy opening day. And then when it comes back to St. Louis, I hope you guys have the best time.
Awesome. Very good. That's Danny Wexelman from ESPN and MLB Network Radio. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are your health insurance premiums making you sick? Did you go with one of those high deductible, limited network Obamacare plans? Well, you're not stuck with it. Or did you go with a plan outside the marketplace that's costing you an arm and a leg? There are better options. Ken Coofer at H&L Agency offer plans where you only meet a deductible if you go into a hospital. You pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most other plans. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, you need to talk to an expert. Call Kim at 800-975-2841. That's 800-975-2841. Or go to hnlagency.org. And is spelled out. That's hnlagency.org. hnlagency.org. They can customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Hey, have you saved more than $300,000 in an IRA or 401k? You may not realize it now, but you've got a big problem on your hands. And that problem is taxes. Learn how you could dramatically reduce the taxes on these accounts in retirement in a one-night adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. It's held at colleges and universities throughout greater St. Louis and Southern Illinois. And it's hosted by financial and tax architects, your retirement professors. In just 3 hours, you'll benefit from decades of financial planning experience on taxes, healthcare, Social Security, investing for income, and more. If you've saved at least $300,000 for retirement, register now by calling 314-626-8817. You'll pay zero tuition for the class. So call 314-626-8817.
Advisory services offered through Financial Tax Architects, an SEC registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Financial and Tax Architects.
This is America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
We're back at it. It's Graybar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. It is day 3 of our Cardinals season preview. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the results of the first Cardinals game. They match up against the Dodgers coming up tomorrow. We bring in our good friend Kevin Wheeler once again. Of course, you hear him on the Dave Glover Show. We did starting pitching a couple days ago. We did relief pitching yesterday, and we're going to really get into the lineup today. Hey, Wheels.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready for tomorrow.
I mean, just like it's top 2 or 3 days of the year for me is opening day. I mean, I can't wait to get done with our version of the pregame, hand that over to you, and then get home to watch the game on TV, and then tune into KMOX while I'm watching on TV.
Perfect.
Actually, on the MLB TV apps, you can do that. You can listen to the audio.
You can if you're not blacked out.
Yes, and I will be.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Now, I'm lucky enough to have a non-blacked out version of MLB TV.
Ooh, what's your password?
And so on the weekends, that's what I'm able to do. I turn on the KMOX audio while I watch the games on TV. So
it's smooth. That's a good move.
I'm one of the few that has that. Yeah. I'm very lucky to be able to have that. The opening day roster was announced today. Nothing crazy. The move to get Victor Scott onto the 40-man roster was moving on from Jared Young. He was placed on outright waivers. Jose Fermin, who had a really nice spring, he goes to Memphis. I'm a little bit more like when you compare last year, the situation at AAA on who that first guy up would be if you had an injury at shortstop or second base or even third. I feel better about it this year just based off the fact that Jose Fermin kind of looked like a different guy this year in spring.
I'm not buying it.
Okay.
To me, he's just a guy. I mean, I get it. Like when you just need a fill in to come in and play on the bench. I mean, it's not the end of the world. And you do have a lot of other guys that can move around, assuming Tommy Edman gets healthy. And, really having Crawford, Edman, Donovan, and Mason Wynn, you should be okay. And Gorman, like you should be okay in the middle infield.
You should
without that. But he did. I'll be honest with you. He did surprise me a little bit in the spring.
Yeah, I thought he looked different.
Yeah.
I had very low expectations for him going into spring, and he exceeded whatever those expectations were.
It's just that when I weight what I know from a player, especially guys that are, I mean, like it's a little different for prospects, but not too much. Like 10%, 12% spring training performance, and then the other 90+%, 88, 90%, that's what you've done before.
Right.
So that's why I'm like,
but he's still a relatively young guy.
Yeah.
So there's still development to occur.
Hope so. I mean, seriously, I hope so, because it's good if he's good.
Yeah. It's because
that's
last
analysis
year
right there.
That's why we pay you the big bucks here at KMOX. I like this, especially when it's healthy. But you know what? Like the Tommy Edman, Dylan Carlson, Victor Scott, whoever's going to play center field thing, I don't actually think there's a whole lot of the production's going to come in different ways, but the overall production, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between those three guys. The team will obviously miss Lars Nootbaar. We'll see if Alec Burleson can do what he did in spring and continue that on. But generally speaking, I really like this lineup.
No, I do too. I mean, I think right now our questions are about the bottom 2 or 3 spots, right? 1 through 6, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's before Nootbaar gets back. When Nootbaar gets back, you're good 1 through 7.
Well, but the 9 hitter is Mason Wynn, and there is 0 expectations on him for
right. And look, 8, 9 at this point, those guys may not be the best hitters. We don't know. Like we don't know. But they also bring other things, right? I mean, Wynn is not Victor Scott, but he can run. He's a good defender, like a dynamic defender. One of those guys that makes the jaw-dropping plays. Those guys can win games for you on the base paths and with their gloves. And if they hit close to league average, that's plenty. I mean, they're 8 and 9 hole. Like you don't need the 8th and 9th hole to be super strong spots offensively. Those players can be, it's okay if they're defense first and they bring some speed. But when you're looking at 1 through 6, now, and eventually 1 through, actually 7 could be good. I mean, like if it depends on where they hit Burleson or Carpenter along with Jordan Walker, they might split they might use the lefty to split up Contreras and Walker.
Right.
So Walker may hit 7th, which is actually what I would probably expect early would be either Burleson or Carpenter between those two guys to split up the righties.
Donovan was going to get some time at the DH spot as well.
Sure,
won't just be Carpenter.
Right. No, and it would be like, Burleson in left or Donovan left. However they end up doing it, I would suspect they're going to try to break up Contreras and Walker with a lefty. And so Nootbaar later in the year, or Gorman, depending on how they end up wanting to do the 3-6. But Ollie made it sound like the 3-6 is where they're going to be flipping Gorman and Nootbaar, depending on matchups or who's going well or whatever. But I like Gorman in that higher spot. I like having him between the two big right-handers.
I mentioned Donovan. He's probably when he's in there, he's probably going to be your leadoff hitter.
Got to be. He's your best on-base guy.
But he's not going to be in there every single day. So what the non-Donovan lineup looks like will be kind of interesting because you kept talking about Matt Carpenter.
Yeah.
We're going to see Donovan sometimes in left. We'll see him sometimes as the DH. We'll see him sometimes at second. And on those days, maybe you DH Gorman.
Yep.
But there are going to be some days where Donovan isn't in the lineup, and then you got to figure out who's in that leadoff spot.
Yeah, and that'll depend on who's healthy.
Right.
If it's Edman, it's probably him because you'll probably give Donovan days off against lefties if you're going to do it, and that's where Edman is strong. So, you have some options there. And look, it could be Victor Scott. It could be, look, Mason Wynn's hitting against lefties or whatever. It could be Newt. I mean, again, Newt and Donovan are your 2 best on-base guys along with Goldschmidt, but you're not going to lead him off. So, those would be both guys that can hit up there.
I think they're they want to have Goldschmidt in that 2 spot a lot.
Yeah, I like him there.
And maybe 2-3 years ago, I wouldn't have liked him there, but I think as he has evolved a little bit as a player, and he's somebody who did struggle this year in spring, and he's coming off not a fantastic year last year. I think there's still some question marks about Goldschmidt being in that 2 spot. Probably gives him as good of a spot anywhere in the lineup to have some success.
Yes. And, look, he's not a base clogger. He's a good base runner. He's not as fast as he probably was 5 years ago, but he still runs well enough to be in that spot. And you're not like, oh, well, you can't, you're station to station. He's not that guy. And, with Goldie, I don't sweat spring training with guys like that. People look at his down numbers from his standards last year, but man, his batted ball numbers were good.
Yeah.
He hit the crap out of the ball. He got a lot of bad luck last year. So I feel pretty good about him anywhere. But, when you're lining up on base percentage in the 1 and 2 spots, which is what they're going to do, whether it's Donovan or Nootbaar at the top and Goldschmidt there, those are all three of those guys are on base guys. And that's what's great. When you're setting the table for Gorman, Arenado, Contreras, that's how you get things going, is guys at the top getting on base. In their cases, I would expect those guys all to be, 36, 37, 38% on base?
Yeah. You would think so. And this is a big year for Gorman because his numbers last year were great, but he couldn't stay on the field.
And hopefully the new stretching routine and all the stuff they did
the popcorn changing.
Yeah, popcorn, the change of the popcorn. But hopefully just the idea that you're going to have constant maintenance about a problem area will get you through the year, because he was on pace for like 33 home runs before he went down. He had 27 and he missed the last month. So he's a big part of everything. And he also showed that he can handle lefties last year. And I didn't hear anything from Ollie Marmol or anyone else suggesting that he wasn't going to face lefties. In fact, it sounded like they're like, look, Donovan, Nootbaar, Gorman, those guys are going to face lefties. We're not protecting them from anybody.
Feels like to me, Gorman's going to get more time at second base than Donovan.
Well, I think part of it's going to be early. You're going to need Donovan in left.
But even if everybody was healthy, I think it was trending in that direction, where when spring got started, I would have said the opposite. I would have said we're going to see a lot of Gorman at DH and we're going to see a lot of Donovan at second. And just as spring moved along, and they were very careful with Donovan too. They didn't want to put him in the outfield until very late in spring, just to protect just not make him force those long throws. But if we can base anything upon the way lineups were built in spring, really seems like Gorman is the main guy at second.
Yeah, and look, some people, every guy's a little different. I don't know what their evaluation is, but some players are totally comfortable moving around. And Donovan sure seems to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's moved around a lot as a major leaguer, and it never really seems to have impacted him. And we haven't seen Gorman move around a lot, so I don't know if it would impact him or not. Maybe they just feel like him being in a consistent routine is what's better for him.
I feel like he got a touch at third, but I mean,
he'll get a few games there when Arenado gets a day off or something.
I don't know if I'd put him there at this point.
I would.
Second in DH and let him be, and then figure something else out.
A handful of games here and there, I'd probably do it, because look, you never know. Like, let's just say Arenado has to miss 3 weeks. Well, your best option then is Gorman. He's your next best third baseman.
I would say Donovan.
Gorman's got the better arm and obviously the extensive experience playing there. But either way, that would be bad. So let's not talk about it, because we don't want Arenado out of this lineup. If he's out of this lineup, that's a problem.
Yeah, and they've got enough guys out of the lineup
right now.
And again, like I said earlier, the Edman Carlson stuff, I don't think it's that much of a drop off with Victor Scott, but this team's going to miss Lars Nootbaar.
I think so. I mean, Lars is a hell of a player. If you look at his regular numbers, they're good. If you look at his his like OPS plus, relative to the league, he's good. You look at his batted ball numbers, they're good, but he can't stay on the field. And it's hard to count on somebody as an everyday player if they can't, if you can't be like, let's get him. We want 140 games, 130 games, whatever. I mean, if it's going to be 110, well, that's a lot of games you don't have him in there, and you're going to have somebody else, take up that spot. And he's a pretty good hitter. He's not going to hit 30 homers, but I think he's very easily a 20 homer guy if you can get 130 games.
And there's an expectation this year that guys are available. When you look at the offseason moves that were made specifically to Tyler O'Neill. Now there's other stuff going on with O'Neill, but the front facing statement from the Cardinals was, we need to have a more consistent group on the field. O'Neill, we can't trust to be in there, so we're moving on from him. That wasn't said about Lars Nootbaar, but Nootbaar, to your point, has also had a hard time staying out there.
Yeah, and look, with Nootbaar, because you have so much more team control of him, if he ends up being more of a part-time player, that's not the end of the world, because you're not paying him anything, and he's not a year away from free agency like O'Neill was in this past offseason. So if that means that the way it plays out is he's going to get more time off to keep him healthy, that's fine. I mean, like, again, when your roster's healthy, and it's going to be a little bit before it is, that you get him out, you get him the days off against lefties, and that's where Carlson plays, and Carlson handles lefties. So, you've got ways to manage it, but in an ideal world, You want an everyday lineup, and you want Newt Bar to be a part of it.
I'm very curious. I don't know if this is going to happen or not. We don't know what Victor Scott is going to look like. By the way, I love the fact that he went with the number 11 because now it says Scott the second basically on the back, which is just great.
Plus, that's a good number for a guy that you think is going to be around for a bit.
Yep. Yeah. Like that's his. I think you can go out and buy a Victor Scott number 11 jersey and feel pretty good about that. It was funny in spring. There was a bunch of people wearing Jose Fermin jerseys, and he had to change his number when Crawford came in.
Oh, yeah.
So all these people had the wrong number on their Fermin jersey. But anyways, that being said, this is a long way off. This isn't even a probable situation, but I am very curious if Scott just kind of takes this job and runs with it. And we see that sometimes from rookies. Would it be the first time? If you cannot take him off the field, when a Tommy Edman comes back, does he get shifted back to more of that utility guy where you're looking at him in the outfield and the infield and everything? Does his role change? Because they were so hell-bent upon him only being an outfielder. That's part of them bringing in Brandon Crawford. And I keep wondering, what does it look like for a Tommy Edman if Victor Scott doesn't give up that job?
I mean, if Victor Scott is as good as it looks like he can be, like if he does anything close to what he did in the minor leagues, then Tommy Edman's a utility guy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, one, he doesn't hit right-handers well, and he's not a kid. What's he, 30 years old now? Close to it? 29 maybe?
I'm doing the math in my head,
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're at this stage of your career, you've not proven you can hit right-handers. You're coming off a wrist injury, which means I'm not taking a healthy guy out that's performing for a person that's had a wrist injury. And even if that wrist injury is healthy, hand and wrist injuries are really tough for hitters.
28, by the way.
Yeah, he's 28. Okay.
But he'll be 29 in a few weeks.
Okay, so same point stands, right? I mean, you've been around a bit, and you haven't shown a consistent ability to hit right-handed pitching at the major league level. And if Victor Scott is doing that, well, then, yeah, you know what? That's what happens. And what probably ends up happening in that scenario is they wave goodbye to Crawford. I mean, if you're in that spot, nobody else is going. I mean, it's either that or Carpenter. Because if we're talking about when everybody's healthy, and Victor Scott would be taking one of the spots that he would not, because he wasn't going to make this team until the injuries. If you've got Carlson and Newt Bar and Edman and Carpenter and Ivan Herrera, I mean, there's no room for Crawford at that point.
I mean, I can't argue with what you're saying, but I feel like this team is all in on Brandon Crawford being a really big part of it.
Maybe, but I mean, that's a scenario that they didn't necessarily plan for.
True.
And it doesn't seem like they would move on from Matt Carpenter. That would be the other option. Because in that scenario, Burleson's already at AAA.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at that point, he's already there. You're not getting rid of Herrera because you have to have a backup catcher. So really, it's one of those two guys that would go. It's the veterans. And if Edman is moving into a super utility role, because that's what it would be in that scenario, well, there's your backup shortstop.
And the problem with Edman in the super utility roles, you already have Donovan. I mean, there's so much redundancy between those two guys.
Well, I mean, it might end up becoming a case where it's a little bit more of a platoon situation. I mean, maybe Edman would be better off just facing lefties in this scenario, where maybe that's a tough call for Victor Scott as a left-handed hitter to face major league lefties in his first go-around, and he hasn't seen that kind of stuff. Maybe that's how it works.
Perhaps.
I mean, let's put it this way. If that's how it ends up going down, that's a great thing because that means Scott's doing the job.
Yeah, it's a very good thing, and we're still weeks away from that. But it's a fun thing to kind of think through. And I always say when it comes to roster stuff in baseball, things always just work
It'll
out.
Get sorted because somebody else is going to get hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Or somebody won't perform or whatever.
People freak out about these things that are 2-3 weeks down the line.
What if we get a month in and Wynn's not hitting?
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. Tommy Edman, slide right in, buddy. You and Crawford share it.
That'd be one way to do it.
I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. Just saying that's a scenario that could happen, and it's not ridiculous to picture it.
It is not. Wheels, thanks for doing this. We'll do this occasionally throughout the course of the season.
Anytime you want. Let's go, man. Baseball. Let's go.
That's Kevin Wheeler.
Play ball.
Play ball. I'm Matt Pauley. We'll wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line next here on KMOX.
KMOX Kegs and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, returns to 7th Street in downtown St. Louis before the home opener Thursday, April 4th. Tickets are sold out, but through March 31st, you have a chance to win a pair of tickets. Submit your email address on the Kegs and Eggs contest page and click Submit. Come celebrate this unofficial holiday with Dirt Cheap, Aloha Pools USA, Rally House, and Victory Men's Health, a men's health clinic dedicated to health optimization. Details at KMOX.com/contest. process.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25RHINO.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at yourheartcomesfirst.com. That's yourheartcomesfirst.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with my Lowe's rewards, your savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers and earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our new loyalty program at lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See lowes.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
This is America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Back at it for one final time. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. The next time we are on with Sports Open Line, we're going to have Cardinals baseball in the books. We'll see if we get any Sports Open Line tomorrow. It might just all be Cardinals post, depending on how long tomorrow's game goes. Just what's going to happen tomorrow. The Cardinals-Dodgers, they are scheduled for a 3:10 first pitch. That means our programming with our pregame show will start at 2:15. We'll have Cardinals-related programming all day long. You know, I like it when the Cardinals start the season at home, but in many ways, starting the season on the road gives us an opportunity to kind of celebrate the start of the season twice, because we'll celebrate tomorrow as the season officially gets underway. And then obviously next week on Thursday, when it's the home opener, it's another opportunity to celebrate. But, you know, kind of final thoughts as we wrap up the program today. I'm excited. I'm optimistic about what the Cardinals are going to be this season. I'd be lying to you if I didn't see the potential pitfalls. I think we can all look at the starting rotation and say, okay, how much better is this rotation compared to last season. And this is a conversation that we've had over and over and over. I think that conversation kind of got thrown into our faces even more when Sonny Gray got injured. And you look at the rotation without Gray, there's pressure on Miles Michaelis to be a guy who can be a top of the rotation starter. Because right now you look at the top of the rotation and you see Sonny Gray and you say, who's your two? Who's the guy that if you're in a playoff series, you feel comfortable as your second starter who can give you a chance to win? And just the fact that they're going with Miles Michaelis on opening day, I guess he's the de facto number 2 at this point. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with Zach Thompson because he's got the profile to be someone who can be a very good pitcher as he's still got some development to get to that point. But we've talked about it over and over and over and over and over again. At some point in time, some of these young pitchers that the Cardinals have been developing, they've got to turn into some version of their best self. And it's a great opportunity for Thompson here through the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the season before Sonny Gray does return. It's a great opportunity for him to show that he deserves to be right there. And what happens when Sonny Gray comes back could be largely dependent upon what Thompson does. If Thompson takes a couple starts and he's really good and he profiles out as a strikeout guy, which is something that they don't have a whole lot of in the rotation, you make them come to a tough decision. That's kind of all of a sudden what the theme is for this Cardinals team, potential tough decisions. And like I was talking about with Kevin Wheeler in our last segment, in baseball, things just tend to work out. We get worried about these decisions and things that might be happening moving forward. But, somebody's going to be coming back off injury in a week and there's no spot on the roster. Not always, but so often things just find a way to work themselves out. So as we sit and talk through potential situations, whether it's a Zach Thompson finding a way to stay in the rotation, whether it's a Victor Scott playing so well that you have no choice but to keep him on the major league roster, whatever it might be, those are good problems to have. And if they truly are problems, they're problems that more often than not, they just kind of work themselves out. And as a Cardinals fan, be rooting for those things. Be rooting for Zach Thompson to pitch so well that a tough decision has to be made. Be rooting for Victor Scott to play so well that a tough decision has to be made, because tough decisions occur more often than not when things are going well. And a lot of things have to go well for the Cardinals. I'm not running away from that fact whatsoever. You got a lot of guys who are expected, or it's going to be a very good thing for the team for them to have bounce back seasons. And some of the guys had fine seasons last year, but you still want a little bit more. You want more from Nolan Arenado. You want more from Paul Goldschmidt. You want more from Matt Carpenter. You want more from Miles Michaelis. The true bounce backs, you want a lot more from Lance Lynn. You want him to look more like who he looked like 2 years ago and not last season. But it is a season where you are asking for a lot of individuals to have some level of bounce back, whether it's a small amount or a large amount. That one thing, how many of those guys actually do bounce back, will go a long way towards how good this season is actually going to be for the Cardinals. All right, that is just about going to do it. Tomorrow, Cardinals baseball, 3:10 first pitch, 2:15 for the pregame. We're going to be on right here on KMOX. I can't tell you how excited I am to be coming your way tomorrow afternoon as we get started with another Cardinals season 2024 here on the home of the Cardinals. We will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks to all of our guests today. What a fun show with John Tudor and Tom Pagnazzi and Danny Wexelman, and Kevin Wheeler was with us. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for Cardinals baseball right here on KMOX.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier of Vira Capital Management